Okay, so I think I found the perfect character to make a Star Wars movie or TV series or whatever. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube. They're tiny snippets of the Star Wars lore. Things like what did Vader did right after Revenge of the Sith, or how did Palpatine handle whatever situation, things like that. There's a lot of interesting things I found in there. I had a lot of fun, to be honest, watching these videos. But there is one story that really resonated with me. I am the right age group to be a Star Wars fan. This is the type of story that I would like to see. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pitch of what I would like this story to be, and then I'm going to leave a link to the original video, which explains very clearly who this guy was, and he did this and this and this and so on. Okay, so we begin our tale with establishing shot of the ship from outside the ship, and then we show the inside of the ship, all the Imperials running around doing their thing, okay? And then Darth Vader shows up, as imposing as ever. And he says, he asks for a mundane task. He found out about this planet that could potentially hold some information on escaping Jedis who survive Order 66. So he needs this info, but he can't go himself. He's too busy. So he says, I need this info and I need it yesterday. I need a volunteer to carry on this mission. And the Imperials, they start looking away, they look at the floor. Vader has a bit of a reputation at this point. It is known that if you mess up with Darth Vader, you could very easily be killed. So nobody wants the job. And right around the time that Vader is starting to lose his patience, he hears this voice. I'll do it, my lord. Darth Vader turns around to the source of the voice, and it's just this dude. He doesn't have rippling muscles. He doesn't look like Chris Hemsworth. He's an average Joe in every sense of the word. And Vader sizes him up. He notices that his discipline is impeccable. He's a force user, so he kind of senses what this guy is made of, okay? He senses that he's not afraid of him. He senses that he's not looking for a reward or anything like that. And he senses a true commitment, okay? And Vader says, very well, identify yourself. And the guy says, Lieutenant Erf Lekov at your service, Lord Vader. Vader says, very well. He explains very clearly what Lekov needs to do. He needs to go to the planet, cross-reference some information, make a copy of the archive, and then just go back to him. And Lekov says, at once, my lord. And the first thing that Lekov does, he goes to the Imperial mainframe and he researches the planet. And he realizes this is pretty much a library. These are eggheads. There's no force necessary. He gathers 3 guys. Pilot, you come with me. You two random stormtroopers, you also come. We go to this planet. Okay, so then we get the hyperspeed scene. Lekov is, playing the banjo, and he's kind of like laughing with the troopers. This is important. We show him that, he's human. So anyway, they reach the planet. Lekov goes to the surface with the 2 stormtroopers. He introduces himself to the keepers of the archives. He says, I'm here on Imperial orders. I need this info. The guys offer no resistance whatsoever. His presence and his authority is more than enough. He carries the task and he goes back. He has carried Lord Vader's order before supper, okay? And so he thinks nothing of it. He calls it a day. Okay, so the next morning we get one of those scenes, the typical military breakfast scene, where everyone's like talking and discussing and, chit-chatting. everyone is like really curious about Lekov. Everyone is like joking around. They say, "Oh man, we're so glad you're here. We were even making bets if you were going to survive." Things like that. And Lekov says it was a glorified messenger run. You'd had to be a moron to screw this up. And the guys are, oh, well, still, this is Vader we're talking about. And Lekov is like rolling his eyes. He doesn't understand what the big deal is. It was just a job. And anyway, and all of a sudden, over the PA, Lieutenant Irv Lekov, report to Lord Vader's quarters immediately. And all the guys are like, ooh, what the fuck, okay? Lekov goes to Vader's quarters. He says, what is it that you need, my lord? And another mundane task, okay? Paperwork, something like that. And all of a sudden, Lekov starts spending more and more time with Vader. And all his friends in the barracks, now they're whispering, saying, what's up with Lekov and Vader? I bet Vader has Lekov by a leash, things like that, no? Lekov is aware of what they're saying behind his back. He doesn't care. He's just happy to be serving the Empire. And then one day Vader says, Lekov, we need to go to this planet. Here there is a dispute. I don't expect any problem, but I need you to come with me. Pick a group of stormtroopers, the ones that you choose. I leave this to your discretion. And then come back. So Lekov picks his troops and he joins Vader and they go down the planet. And instead of finding the guy they were supposed to meet, they find nothing. So Vader thinks maybe there's something wrong. The troops are on the ground, so he says, wait here, I'm going first. Vader steps ahead of the line. And then all of a sudden, there's a bunch of assassins firing at Vader. He can deflect a couple of shots, but there's too many. And then Lekov and all the troops, instead of running away, they come into the enemy fire. All the troops are carrying rifles. Lekov just has a pistol. He's firing one-handed, like a fucking badass. He looks like a Civil War painting. That's how I envision this scene. A purely American moment, okay? And so they defeat the assassins. Thanks to Lekov, he even gets injured. A bunch of troopers die. This other guy comes out, and he's a Jedi. Dark Jedi, I think they call him in the story. And Vader says, this one is just for me. Lekov, take the surviving man and wait for me in the ship. Lekov wants to help Vader. He doesn't want to leave him, but he understands that he's right, and they go to the ship. And then we get our cool lightsaber fight. Every once in a while, we cut inside the ship. Lekov is really anxious, pacing inside the ship. He wants to help. And then Vader, he defeats the Jedi or Dark Jedi, whatever you prefer. And then they go back. Vader says to Lekov, Lekov, today you rose above and beyond what's expected to you. I am most pleased with how you carried yourself today. And Lekov, he's very humble. He says, I was only doing my duty. He says, no, you did more than that. I don't do this very often. You can ask for a reward. And Lekov says, can I use the telephone? And he says, sure, as soon as we get to the ship, you can make your call. They go to the ship. Lekov goes and quickly goes to the telephone booth. And Vader, he kind of gets curious. Why does he want a phone call? He realizes that he calls his family on Coruscant. They live there. And he used the reward that he could have asked for a bunch of things. And his reward for him, it was a call to his family. And so Vader is looking at him through the security camera. Who knows what's going on behind the mask?